Okay, welcome back to the daily live stream. We had a bit of a hiatus for a few days, but we're back. So you know the drill. If you are working on your homework or you have to code something up, whatever it is, now's the time to do it. We're gonna do 1 hour of serious coding, put everything else away. And as I keep saying, like if you do this every single day, it adds up and time does fly. And after a few years, you'll notice that you've either built your app or finished your course or whatever it is that your goal is. So let's get right into it. And basically, if you're just opening the channel, this video now, and you're wondering what it is that you're looking at, I have been on a journey of teaching myself how to code from scratch. I started about 2.5 years ago with Harvard's CS50. I took their main course. I took a couple of follow-up courses as well. And now I am working on the final project for their web development course, which is on specifically Python and JavaScript. It's very heavy on the JavaScript, and it's using the React framework in the front end and Django in the back end. So let's get right into it. This is sort of what we're building today, or really finishing what we have been building for the last few days. So this is a feature, it's part of a bigger app, and the idea is that users can submit what they want to see in the app, and me as a developer, instead of guessing what it is that my users want, I can just listen to them and build from that. So in this example here, if I was already running this app and it was published and I had users and they were telling me to build, these admin groups, this would be the feature that I would work on next, instead of working on next the features that I want to build. All right, so this is more or less done, and let's take a look at the code. Yeah, so this is what we left off last time, and okay, yes. And basically, we have built most of this already. So you can see here, we have this area where I can just submit feedback, and I can just give some details and suggest that. And you'll see that it'll update on the feed here, and I can see that, and it's working quite well. This is all responsive, so it should look okay, whether it's in a phone or on a tablet or a big PC. And it behaves okay. Now, last time we were working on this feature where I can go ahead and leave some comments per feedback, and you'll see here, maybe we'll even change this. Actually, yeah, fine, this is okay for now. We'll push here, and you'll see, we can see our first comment. And where we left off last time is that I have been logging, I guess I've been logging the, like when these cards load, it's making an API call to our server, and then it's returning something. And so I wanted to log each trip on the console here, and we'll see that when we loaded this here, first I loaded, let me see here, like 0. Yeah, so here we can kind of see what's going on in our app. So after I just created this new comment here, which, where was it? Okay, 1 second. Yeah, so here. So yeah, once we submitted that new card, that new feedback, right, here it is. It'll tell us that the post was created successfully. And this is all something that's sort of programmed in the back end to give me this feedback, and by logging that, I'm able to see the traffic, even though there's other ways of looking at the traffic here. So you'll see it creates the post, and what does it do afterwards? Afterwards, for some reason, it is loading again 3 empty arrays, which I am assuming is these 3, the ones that say 0 over here. So yeah, it's basically reloading the ones other than the one I just submitted. Then it's fetching again from the server 4 posts, because now we have four. Before we only had 3, so we have 3 plus the new one. It's fetching the server again. It's loading all of them here, and then it's again fetching for the comments, and it's loading 4 empty arrays, which I guess I have 4 empty ones. And maybe the first one, like 0, like 0. Yeah, I guess I have 4 empty ones somewhere. And got it. So let me just reload this. And again, so from the beginning, we load the page, and it's going to load all of our posts. And afterwards, it's going to load all of our comments. Now, it's not loading the comments. It's actually loading these buttons. So that, again, it's loading all of our cards, and then it's loading all of our comments buttons. And the reason it's doing that is because we are displaying onto here the amount of comments. So therefore, we have to load that number from somewhere. So this is already one quick optimization that we can do. It's to, instead of loading these numbers as part of the button, we should be loading them as part of the card. So as part of the upper array here, and that would probably save us these 4 here. Right now, this is not super important. So I'm going to actually skip this. I just want to keep moving on and just turn in this homework as quickly as possible. But if I have more than a reasonable amount of users, this is something that needs to be corrected, because it's something that is wasting server resources. It's something like there's no point in doing 2 trips for something that you could do in 1 trip. That just wastes server resources. And again, if you have 1,000 users, if you have 10,000 users, maybe it's not the end of the world. Maybe it's okay. You're only going to pay, I don't know, a couple of cents or not even $1 more per month. I don't really know, but it's not going to be that big of a difference. But if you have millions of users, you could be paying hundreds of dollars more per month in server hosting if you have code like this, which is just erratic code. And okay. Now, if I click on the number 1 up here, you'll see that what it does is it makes an API call, and it loads the comments for that. And over here, it's doing the same thing. It's doing the same thing. That's something we should correct for. Like, we should not be able to click here if the number is 0. But right now, we are able to, so that's a bug. And obviously, we're able to like, and also unlike. Okay, also here, I guess not, because it's my own comment, but okay. So again, if I click on here, it's going to load that comment as an array. Okay. And if I click here, it doesn't load anything. So actually, what I want to do is not just load this array of comments. You know what? Let me reload this again. Okay, let's redo this again. So you know what? Let's just go ahead and fix this. Just why not? Let's make this, if we're going to do it, let's do it correctly. And so again, this is loading. We load the page, and then it loads all of our cards for us. and then it's loading all of these buttons, which at the moment is an empty array. So why are we getting an empty array? We don't even need an empty array right now. Let's take a look here. So this is all happening. We got to find our use effect here, and you'll see that it's requesting from our feedback engine, and then it goes down here, props out reload, post like reload. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, in this case, it's sort of reloading everything. Not really. Let me see. And so over here, if I like this, yeah, it is reloading everything. That's not necessarily what I want. I would like it to just not do that, basically. I would like it to just load whatever it needs to, therefore not wasting server resources. So let's take a look at here how we can improve this. And if I look at my views here, feedback engine is returning a list called data response, and data response is basically this thing called, it's an array of normalized post. And normalized post is this. And so I'm just looking here right now that we are actually pushing the correct information here from the server. So in our return here, right here, you'll see we are actually returning all these objects, right? And if we take a look at object, the first one here, you'll see that it'll tell us, it should tell us how many comments. Yeah, so it'll tell us how many comments this particular post has. So that information is being passed into my comments feed. See that? So my comments feed is taking in this post dot comments from here, and it's displaying here the number of comments. Now my question is, why is it loading that main array plus 4 empty arrays? Where is that coming from? Let's take a look at the comments feed definition here. So the definition of the component. So my comments feed is returning this. So I'm not really sure where those empty arrays are coming from, but because they are arrays, I can, or because they're being displayed over here in the console, I'm just going to try and look, where am I doing that? Like, where am I logging anything really? And maybe it's over here, console log comments feed. So I guess I am logging that. Let's just make something up quickly here. I think we could do like this. We're gonna do this for a second. think this is the correct syntax. I don't remember 100%, but we could try maybe like this. Let's see. Ooh. Nope. Hold on, hold on. So let's try again okay, that's the correct syntax. And then I can just write here this part. Okay, let's reload our page. Hold on. Yeah, so our state.comments feed is where we are storing that array, and we are logging it a few times. Now, I actually don't think that there's any errors here, now that I'm thinking about it, because all this is just happening in the front end. So I think we can resolve for all of this by just deleting this line. And now we should be good to go. Let's see. And we are good, and we only have that one array there. And if I click on here, looks like it's working okay. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is put in there some type of form that people can add comments. So let's just go ahead and do that. And we're going to make a new component for that. We have our comments feed. And I guess you can do it right here. I'm just going to do it right there. Hey, hello to KGT. Function. We're going to call that new comment. And we'll say that it takes some props. Let's just do it like that. And for now, we'll just use it to return a div. So it's returning a div. One second. new comment form here. And this will be a form. We'll get to that in a minute, but I just want to, again, see if this is all working correctly. So we're going to, and again, this is only if, this is going to be happening only if the user clicks on it. So the default output for this lower part here of the card is just a bubble with the number of comments. If you push it, then it will show a form to add a new comment, and it'll also show all the other previous comments. So that's the idea. Let's see if we can actually make it happen. So I'll just go in here, and we did make that new component. So it's right here, new comment. So we'll just add it down here. Hopefully it works. Let's see. Yeah, so it's like that, new comment, space / close. We'll add that new comment, which at the moment is just returning this div here, which maybe it should have a P as well. We'll take a look. And that div will be at the top, and at the bottom you have all the other code, which is just to show the current comment. So let's reload this. Hopefully it works. Seems to be doing okay so far. We click on it, and it looks like it works. I believe it looks like it works. Yeah, it's right up here. I just have to make that text dark, but in general I think it is working. Let me see. That would be class name. This is something I gotta fix eventually, which is to define the default colors for the whole app. So right now I'm just doing it like this. Click on it, and the new comment form will go up here, and then the comments will go down here. So we have the base here now to be able to add as much functionality as we want right here. Okay. Good. So this is exactly how it's supposed to work. Let's go ahead now and make a form. And so I do have a form from somewhere else over here from a different project. I'm just going to import that one. And let me see. That'll be use effect, paginator, handle unlike, post like button, edit post, Let's see. Update post form. No. Handles. Yeah. So it'll be, I guess, something like this. New post form. And we're going to copy this entire thing here. And we're going to paste it in place of our new comment. So we're going to delete this, replace all that. Okay. And now, because this is like a grandchild component, basically, I'm going to go ahead and, let me see, we are in a blue thing here. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and indent this 2 times. So you see we have that component here sort of, yeah, it's a component which is being defined inside of another component, which is being defined inside of another component. So this is basically a grandchild component. And we'll rename it. We'll call it new comment. And I guess we could reload here for a second and see that, it is here. We could see it right there. And that's good. We'll call this post set post. We'll leave all this the same. I guess comment and set comment. We have our use state. That's good. And then handle change event set comment to event.target.values. So what we're doing here is we are initializing 2 variables. One of them is empty as we initialize it, and that's where we're going to store the user input. And in the second one here, handle change, this function, what it actually does is it takes the user input, and as you're typing it, it is going to input it into our using our into this variable here, comment, using the set comment function. And what is inputting over there is event.target.value. So that's just like a JavaScript definition that of whatever the user is typing in from the keyboard, that's what's, or sorry, on the actual form, that's what's going to go inside of this variable here as in real time. So character by character as you're typing it. And then afterwards, we are defining this handle submit. Now this handle submit is the function which sends whatever the user, once the user clicks submit, it'll send that to the server. So we actually have to define that route. I don't think we have any routes for creating comments yet. I mean, we have like get comments. So it would be appropriate to make a new comment route. Let's go ahead and do that. So that'll be new comment down here. New comment, and we're going to be using post ID. So we will be sending as part of the request, it'll be a post request, and in that we'll, I guess in the URL, we'll use the URL decorator to say which post are we commenting on. And we want to load something called views new comment, and we have to define that in a second. So I'm going to copy this new comment, and I also want the name to be new comment, and this name is for routing. I guess I don't know if we're going to be using that today, but it's how you would route like your links on your app. Instead of hard coding in the actual URL, you would just give them the name, and then the app itself will figure it out. And it's good if you're changing domains or that sort of thing. It keeps the integrity of all your links. So now that we have that, the URL is completed there, we'll go ahead and define our def new comment. And that new comment is going to take a request, which all these functions do. But because we are defining the post ID as a URL decorator, we also have to take in here that URL decorator. Now remember that we named it post ID. So that's what we need to put over here, post ID. And we're going to pass that for now. Okay, I should be okay now to go here. So the server is not giving me any errors anymore. Let's take a look. So that's okay over there. That's what the front end here will be doing. It would be sending a request over to that URL. Now, I'm going to copy that over there like that, post ID, and I need to find in JavaScript here a way of passing that post ID. So that might have to be a prop which we pass along. And in general, our comments feed we are passing to it some type of ID. So I do believe that we can just go ahead and use that right there. So that would be props. And I guess we're going to have to do that. We're going to do this one here. That's the syntax. So it will be props.post ID. Let's take a look down here. How we're actually passing that. And so in our use effect here, we have this comments feed, and we are feeding it this comments post ID, and it's called post.pk. So actually, this is what we need to pass. We're passing this as a prop to comments feed. So let's go up to comments feed. And our comments feed is taking props. So inside of this prop, this will be a dictionary with a bunch of keys. I think it's 2 keys because we're only defining 2 of them. And so I believe we have access to this even in the grandchild component. I'm not 100% sure, meaning I don't know if we have to like pass this again to a grandchild. We'll try running it now. If it doesn't run, then it means that, so right now I'm going to try it without passing it. I'm going to assume that inside, again, inside of this function here, I have access to those props, even though this is all technically inside its own function, right? This is all like not really part of the, you see we have like a parent and a child function, a function within a function. I am assuming that this constant here has access to whatever dictionary is being passed up here. If it doesn't, then I will have to just pass it. We'll see how we can do it. It's not that hard. It's very simple actually. It's just, I guess, an extra step. I am assuming though that we do have access to it because it's being defined inside, so we should have access. I'll go ahead and just type in here props, and remember we named it comment underscore post underscore ID. That's what we named it. That'll give us an ID, an integer, and if it's not giving us an integer, we can convert it later. We'll debug it later. That integer is being passed over here. Django is identifying it and renaming that integer as post ID. Post ID is being accepted down here as an input to this function, new comment. So this is the view which will run if we want to make a new comment. So we'll leave it as post. Okay. And again, we're passing, what are we passing? We're going to be passing this constant up here of comment. And great. Here's also a place where we could do a token pass a token as well. But because I haven't really implemented this, I haven't actually learned so much about this in class. I'm going to skip that for now. And I'm actually going to exempt this view from the token. And all we got to do is just add this decorator up here. And that should do it. For production, for publishing, I will make sure to take care of all that cybersecurity stuff. But for now, it should be okay. Then we passing the comment as a JSON. And we do response.json. And we have props on reload and whatnot. Props on reload. I have to take a look if we actually have a similar function now for this, but this would just reload the page. I think I called it something else. So you see our use effect here, which is loading, constantly loading automatically our page here, has a dependency called props.reload and post-like reload. Okay, and we are actually passing that down here in the main thing here. You'll see it says reload of reload. Got it. So all right, so we're gonna have to find a way of passing basically this handle reload constant here. We're gonna have to find a way of reloading that. Yeah, new post form on reload, right? And then handle reload post feed. Right, so post feed is keeping track of this constant here. Whenever it changes its value, it will go ahead and trigger a reload of the post feed. And in order for me to trigger that reload, I basically have to be passing this function here, which is in charge of managing the value of reload, which is what I'm doing here. So the post form is actually using that to trigger post feed reload. I have to make sure now to pass basically this post feed. Let's take a look. I believe I have to pass that now into our post feed as a prop. Post feed props, and my post feed props and our hold on, handle post like reload, handle post like reload. So again, so my let me see, delete post button, handle post like reload. So I guess I can just use that one. Handle post like reload. I'm not even passing it, I'm just using it. But the reason I can use that is because it's part of the post feed. Hold on. Yeah, I think we can just use it here because, I mean, function comments feed. I believe this comments feed is being defined inside of my post feed, and it is. You see, it's inside. So again, this is like the parent component. We have a child and a grandchild. So whatever the parent has, the children can use. Also in life, I think it's relevant. Let's do that. So that'll be inside my new comment here. I'm gonna do handle post like reload, and hope for the best. We'll take a look if that actually works. So let's load this again. Click here, and we get a bunch of errors. Post is not defined. Okay. Post is not defined. Set post. Got it. So it would be set comment. So we have all this. Event prevent default. Props comment post ID. We have all this. Looks okay. Data does this, so that would be set comment to that. Handle post like reload. We're gonna use this. This might be we might need a different one, but for now I think we'll use that to test. Then if we get an error, we'll still empty that out, and we will console the error, and we will also alert it. And our form is handle submit, which is right up here, so we don't need to actually pass it as a prompt. We just use it right there. Handle submit and new comment, text area, on change, handle change. Let me take a look up here. On change, handle change, handle change. So again, this is actually a feature from React itself or JavaScript, whatever, which it's looking at that text area, and if it's changing as I'm inputting something, it'll automatically run this function, which is updating the variable up there. And the value of this would be comment, which I believe is this, right? So at the same time as it's updating, we're also displaying it. It's like this weird two-way thing. So as I'm typing it, I am sending it to my local memory, and I'm also showing whatever is in that memory. And we just give them a button which says, has a type of submit, and which the value would be comment, and it'll be disabled if this comment variable is empty, which is the default. Let's take a look again. We click here, we'll see that our new comment shows up, and it also says this new comment thing over here. There's a couple of things that we could upgrade here. Definitely do here text dark. That's already an easy thing to work on. And then here, as I'm typing, you'll see that it shows up. That's good. This is very clunky, but actually, I mean, I like simple design. I like minimalist type websites. I like something called brutalist web design, which is, very raw, very simple. And you know what? I've been seeing a couple of people put out content saying that it's a I don't know, it's like a trend now that people are getting tired of like really nice looking websites. They actually just want to get to the point. They don't care so much about the beauty, they care more about the functionality. People in general don't want to be spending time on their computer so much. So it sounds like they just want to go ahead and do whatever needs to be done with the app and move on as quickly as possible. That's my goal in terms of design and in terms of just making apps in general. Make an easy app that's easy to use. People understand what the point is. Don't make people think. And just move on with your day. Have a good day, you know? Okay, so the comment is here. Now we do not have any type of really logic at all on the server of how to actually run this. So I'm just going to copy this from a previous homework that I have here. That's inside of my network views. And my new post logic is all of, I'm just going to take all this and adjust accordingly. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to be using. I'm going back to my index feedback, not to confuse with the index network. And I'm just going to delete this part. Right? So yeah, this is what we have so far. Whenever I click on comment down here on my form, the front end code looks like this here. So this is the function that will run once I click comment here. Now I have to work on it and double check it, and I also have to implement the so this function will actually send data to the server, which is on the right here. The server will run some logic, will do whatever needs to be done, and then it will give a return of, for now we just have a simple return that says post created successfully. That's it, and that's what goes in there, and that's it. So the first thing we're checking for is my request method a post request? And yes, it is. That's what we're specifying on that's what the front end is sending. Afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and try a couple of things. Now, if we for a second look at our database, which in Django is so nice, you see it's just a bunch of Python functions as opposed to SQL, which, you know, you really have to get into the terminal line, and it takes a while just to implement something. Here it's much cleaner, I think. Although I do really like SQL as like a language. I think it's not really a language, but you know what I mean. I really do like SQL. C also, I mean, I like everything really, all these different, it's just very cool. The history of it is very cool. The people that invented it are just like really cool people that, I mean, they're just not just nerds, but they're like, I don't know what to call them. They're like leaders in a way, but the point is, they're thinkers, they're philosophers. They're not just coding. They're not just coding. They're not just robots. They're the guy that made Linux, for example, Linus. He just seems like a cool guy. I mean, I don't know. He just, or Wozniak, the guy, the number 2 at Apple. You know, these type of people are just like epic. And I don't know. This also feels, when I'm coding the older languages, it also feels a little bit like, you know, it's just very like we should be proud of it as a humanity. You know, that especially people in the 60s figure this out with just pen and paper. A lot of this, the foundations of what we're doing today really come from the 1960s. And I mean, if you believe the news, you know, they send people to the moon with just, I mean, it's amazing like how they figure all these things out. If you don't believe they send people on the moon, I mean, at least they made all this random technology that it's the basis for our, you know, our modern society today. I think it's amazing. So anyways, but again, even with SQL being so amazing and the way it works, at this point it has been extrapolated, at least in this framework, to just a couple of Python functions here, classes really. And basically, if you take a look here, if we wanted to go ahead and create a new object, a new comment, if we wanted to store a new comment on the database, what we need to do is we need to make just make a new object from one of these classes. So we have that, we made this one here, feedback comment. Our feedback comment object can be created only if we feed it the correct fields. So without getting too much into why, if it's not obvious, we have to feed it a feedback object. So we have to feed it one of these objects, which obviously includes all the stuff. We have to feed it a user object, a timestamp. We don't have to feed it because that's something the server generates automatically. As you can see here, auto now. and the comment, which is just the text field that our our user here, our nice user, is pushing comment on and sending it to us. So these fields, we have to match them in our view over here in the server. So again, what do I need to do? If somebody sends me a request, hey, I want to make a new comment, basically think about it. Let's think about it as if it was like an Excel sheet. Let's think about it in terms of the database. We have a user that wants to submit a new comment to the database and save it there. So we need to get the feedback. That's the first thing we want to get, the feedback. We want to get our user. Okay. And we want to get our the actual comment that we're going to save, right? Which is, because we're using this little code here as a little bit of a template, we kind of already have. So we have the feedback. And what is the feedback basically? The feedback is the object of this card here. Now, if we take a look real quick here, you'll see here quickly that, let's take a look here. My add feedback here is basically it displayed in this array here, and you'll see here that this array here shows us that this particular card in the database where it's being stored has a, call it a unique ID of 19. That's the ID number. So what we can actually do is find that in the server. We can find that card, or not just the card, I mean, like not just the ID. We can find the entire card as an object, as a and if you're having trouble with objects, I would recommend take a look at the Harvard's Python course. I would recommend take the whole course, finish it. You'll learn a lot. The last class, or the last couple classes, are about classes, and they actually, in that course, at the very end, they kind of get into like real intense object-oriented programming with Python, which has helped me a lot in this course. I would say I haven't even implemented everything that they taught me in the Python course in this course. But I could see how I could use it in the future, like to validate data, to make sure the users don't input negative, try to hack my website, for example, or to make sure that the users are to manage the integrity of the data that the users are submitting to the server. That's something that could be done with object-oriented programming, amongst other things. But again, it's called object-oriented programming because you define a class, and then every time you want to save something to the server here, you're making a new object. So we can get this. So if we wanted to get my feedback object, we would do like this. We do feedback is equal to, and then we are trying to find these objects in the server, in the database. Sorry, so it'll be feedback dot objects, if I could spell objects dot. Now we want to do get because we know we're only going to have one object with that unique ID. So feedback.object.get, and you don't see a primary key defined here because it's a default from Django that Django is giving us, because we're inheriting from this library here of models. And so we're just going to go ahead and type in pk is equal to, now remember, where are we passing this pk? See if we could figure that out. This primary key for, which right here is 19, is actually being passed over here in our, it's being passed as a decorator to our URL. So it's props.comment.postid whatever. This gives us an integer, and this integer is being captured by and renamed as post ID, and then passed into our view here as post ID. So I can just copy that and paste it here. So feedback objects dot object, whatever. So this will give us a feedback object. Then we can do the exact same thing for the user. The user would be, it would be teleport user, which we defined up here, teleport user. I'm not getting exactly why I did that. Teleport user dot objects .get. Now every time on Django, every time somebody requests something, that request automatically includes the user ID, so we have access to it. So the easiest way to get that would be pk is equal to request.user.id, and that would give us the object for that user. So far we have object for feedback, object for user, and our comment will just be a matter of unwrapping that JSON envelope known as request.body, and it's the request.body because that's what we named that key for that dictionary, for the whole dictionary over here. Now this is the wrong function. Let's take a look here. Post, I hope I wrote in the correct function before. Feedback of, hold on, this is comments feed here. Yeah, no, I had it in the right one. Okay, so our body, you see, our body is what has the comment. So we are extracting all that data and putting into this comment here. I'll take a look in a minute. It could be that I have to actually convert this into a string. I remembered, actually we already did it, stringify, you see, so we are converting it to a string, because from before I think it's saved as a, I don't know, as an array or something. I'm not really sure. Array of characters, which is not necessarily a string for some weird reason. And okay, if you're taking CS50 and the parts that deal with pure C and coding in the C language, you'll see over there why there's a difference between strings and arrays of characters. Okay, so it really has to do something with the way memory works. This is good, I think, except now if we get some type of error here, we always want to redirect the user somewhere so the app doesn't necessarily crash. So I'll just call this feedback index. I think that's where I've been redirecting everybody. We'll just go back there, feedback index. And that's it. If I get all this stuff, then we can kind of say that we have all the parts that we need. Everything was successful to make a new comment. So that's it. We already did that. All we got to do is just, again, follow the whatever we have here. So that would be feedback comment. So a new comment here would be this. So that's feedback comment, and we just pass it whatever we want. We do I believe it's feedback, so we just feedback equals this one up here, feedback, and then we can do user. We could do the user, and we could do the actual comment. Comment is equal to comment, and that's it. That'll save that object locally here in that variable, and then we can save that variable to, we could actually like merge that into the database by running new comment.save. And afterwards, we always want to return something, so we'll return message post created successfully. Now we have another case here of this if else statement here, so we'll also refer them to the feedback index. This is just if somebody tries to access this route of new comment with a get request instead of a post, it will just redirect them. They won't be able to do that. And if they are trying to access via post, they do have to submit the correct data, otherwise it's going to re-return them. And you know what? That's, in reality, they would also have to submit a unique token to prove that they're an authorized user. But for now, we're exempting that. Fine. So I think this should work. Again, that'll give us all this stuff here. That seems about right. Let's go back to my, yes, this. So after we submit all of that, again, we are returning this JSON response, and that's what the front end is expecting, a response. And it's unwrapping that JSON envelope. And after it's doing that, it's going to reset the form that, if you wanted to add more comments, it will reload that. Probably, I think just the form or the card will see exactly. I think I have it set up so it will reload the entire feed, but we can obviously tune that, fine-tune that later. And after it's reloading the feed, that's it. It just basically just that's it. I mean, we're sort of done with that part of the implementation. And we also always want to catch errors. And if we have an error, it'll for now display it in the console and as an alert, which I don't necessarily need that. The console is enough. So I'll remove that. And our return for the form, I think all this is correct. I mean, I checked it before. I have no desire to check it again unless it gives me an error. So we'll see. We'll reload this. That was kind of slow. Let's do it again. Okay, and then if we push here, you'll see that it's loading correctly. It's giving us the new comment, and it's giving us the current comment so far. Second comment here. And if I push on comment, you'll see that it's giving me some type of syntax error. Now, JavaScript and React. React is very hard to debug. I don't know if it's really hard. Definitely not as hard as Python. Probably easier than debugging C in some cases, unless you're using the CS50 compiler. So I am getting an error here because I guess the way that I am defining my dictionary, which I am then enveloping it into a JSON and sending it back, I guess it's not. It didn't expect, like, it's not matching. The keys look like in the dictionary are not matching. So parses JSON to native JavaScript objects. Okay. Line 1 of the column 1 of the JSON data. Hold on. Yeah, I want to also console. Just want to see what's going on. The console log of that data. Let's redo that. And it didn't actually save it in the server, so I guess it's okay. Second comment. So it's giving me an error even before all of this. Let me see here. Yeah, so it's somehow, I guess it's triggering this line here. And I guess, well, really both of them are also clear the input here. So let me see why that is happening. So it didn't just redirect me to here. It actually returned something. So, but I don't see it in the server. Let me just reload here. Reload again. So it's not on the server. There's something weird going on here. Maybe it's from this part of the code here. So again, this is exactly what I'm talking about with JavaScript. I don't even know where it's coming from. Like, it's somewhere, It's just very hard to work with if you have, deadlines and you want to work fast. It really does slow you down. You could also, I guess, just write the app using Django, by the way. You don't have to use React. And I would say that's my preferred way of working. But the homework does require us to use React. I personally haven't made up my mind yet. If in the future I want to be using React, I might keep it to a minimum. I might just keep it for a couple of things. I just like Django. I really like it. And it's all in Python. It works well for me. Let's continue here. Handle change. Let's see. New comment, headers, body. And so we have the request.body. Let me take a look if in my new comment, I definitely call new feedback, I think. New feedback. Yeah, I think this might be the issue. So it's not data.body, it's data bracket key of whatever. So that's what we got to do. So again, this is a syntax which is wrong. So it's not request.body, it would be request, and then we want to bracket into the key of body. Yeah. And if we reload here, right? Let's reload it. The console looks quite clean, like no errors here. We'll click on our comment down here. We can see, and I'm gonna edit this to look a little bit nicer, but just to make sure everything's working, I can make a new comment here, second comment here. Okay, and click on comment. And I am still getting a mistake here. From my handle submit. Go figure. Let's take a look quickly up here at my new post. Data.message. So I think that's what we want to do also down here. In that error. So we have this. Hold on. Yeah, in this error, we want to do error.message. No, we want to do data.message. Let's see if it actually worked with something. And we want to do second comment. Unexpected character at line 1. So actually our error is coming from the server, which kind of makes sense because it wasn't saving it. Like, if the server had been working, it would have been saving these objects, but it wasn't. So it's giving me a feedback, new comment, undefined. Again, feedback, new comment, and then this is giving me an undefined. Why is that? So I think this might have to do with the fact that I have to convert that ID to an integer. Let's try that. Let's see how I can do that quickly here. I think I'm using that also as part of my like button. Props.post ID. Okay, so I think I am getting to the root of the issue here. The root of the issue is what we said before, where I don't think we have access to that. I wonder if, so I don't think we have access to, I'll show you specifically what I'm referring to. Yeah, so here we have props of comment post ID. We're not actually passing that to our comments, to our new comment function. We are only passing it to the parent. And I was assuming that we have access to these props from the parent, but apparently not. So what we have to do is we have to pass that. So it would be props. Okay, so we got to find the actual component. So it's right here, new comment. Our new comment has to take in a prop, which would be, I don't know, it would be like an ID of something. Let's see, ID. Let's call it feedback. Let's just call it feedback ID, and that will be equal to. And here we're going to pass props of all this. Now these props are coming from the parent. All we're doing is we're passing it to the child. I think that's what's going on here. All right, so we have the right here. We're taking props from here, and then we're injecting them into the child here, but because we don't have access to it otherwise. And so now props dot whatever. Let's see. New comment would be props of feedback ID, what we are passing there. So it would be props dot feedback ID. Again, I just forwarded the props from the parent to the child. Let's see if it actually works now. That's step one. I think that's the more obvious one. Let's see if it works. We open here. It seems to be working. So second comment and push comment. And I think we made some progress because it's not coming. The error is not coming from. First of all, we did get. Yeah, you see, we got a new comment of 19. So it is passing now correctly. The what do you call it? It's passing correctly now the ID of the post that we want to comment on, that integer. So that was the correct move. So I guess to recap, we did learn something today, which is that children components do not have access to the properties from the parents. If the parent have something in the property, you have to forward it, so to speak, to the child. And in theory, if I reload this right now, I should have been able to see that. Hold on. Load that? No. So it didn't actually save it. I don't think it saved it. And I'm not going to go into the database right now. You could using the shell here. It didn't actually do it. So let's take a look quickly at the logic here. So right, so I guess what it's doing is it's returning, because this is what it's returning instead of a JSON response. It's tripping out the front end here because he's not expecting a redirect. He's expecting a JSON. Second comment here. Comment and yeah, syntax error JSON part line 3 column 1 of the JSON data. Line 3 column 1 of JSON data. I'll do this as well. Let's try again. So new comment would be, again, second comment. So handle submit at line 24. Let's take a look if it helps. Handle submit of line 24. I don't think we have that here. This is maybe 10, 20 lines total. Or maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Handle submit. So the error is, okay, so it's just telling me that it's tripping this line here. But it doesn't tell me why, how to fix it, nothing like that. And the server does not give me an error. So post, feedback, no comment 19. I'm getting a return of 302, which I don't remember what that actually means. So I might have a problem somewhere in here. Let's take a look. My feedback objects dot get of post ID, which I am passing it here. You could see it's right here, 19. We have the correct URL, right? So this is feedback / new comment / post ID. We are doing well with that, I think. And that post ID, I'm using it as the PK here to get that feedback objects get user. I'm getting my user, and this is my comment, which should be a string. Let me take a look up here. Hold on. Yeah, so I did separate it last time. So I did say, I guess I did both, right? So I do have a mistake here. I have to do both. I have to first take the raw data out of the JSON, just do that as its own step, and then key into it using the brackets. So again, feedback user. So first we want to get our data as JSON loads of request.body. That's just what that is over there. And to double check, that's what we're passing. That's the key that we're passing here of body. And my comment would actually be data of body, right? Hold on. Yeah, data of body. So if we were looking at it graphically, I guess our JSON, we could imagine it as being, yeah, this function here. This is wrapping our data into a JSON envelope. And I call it an envelope. I haven't heard anyone else calling it that. And so that's what we're doing here. We're just opening the envelope of request.body. And I think the request.body has nothing to do with the body here. It's actually something else. And then once we have that data, we want to do data of body, and that becomes our comment. Let's try that again. So we reload here, make a new comment. Comment. Data is not defined. So maybe I was wrong. I mean, data is not defined. Where are we here? What do you mean? What do you mean data is not defined? Absolutely zero debugging information here. Data is not defined. Reference error, data is not defined. What are they talking about? Data is not defined. I mean, that's how I had it up here before in the other one. So new feedback, we have the request. Request.body JSON. I mean, I literally copied this word for word. This is what I copied over there. Let's try it down here. Maybe we'll do without the body. Yeah, so I don't know, I'm just winging at this point because it could be that I had it before. And it could be that I had here in the other example, like something like a dictionary. Let's delete these two here. And again, feedback user data. Data is JSON loads request, I guess. And then data of body is the comment. Let's try that again. This second comment here, I'm pretty much just guessing at this point. I don't really know how to resolve this. Reference error data is not defined. What are they talking about? Let's just call it S data. I don't know what the heck is going on here. S data. Which data are they talking about over here? Oh, data.message. Oh, here, data.message. Not sure. Let's take a look again. Reload. Make a new comment here. Second comment. Comment for that. And we're still getting a bunch of errors. I'm not exactly sure how to resolve that. See. Let's see again. Hold on. I guess it's redirecting it. It really is redirecting it, I guess. Let me see how it looks in the front. It could be that it is. It could be our issue here is with the server. The front end doesn't seem to have reloaded, but just from looking at the Django output here, it looks like it's actually. Let me reload the page real quick. I just reloaded it, and this is what it looks like when you reload the page. But you'll see that there's something like that as well. So before, when I submitted it, when I posted it, automatically loaded. You'll see here, it automatically also did this, get feedback. Get feedback is for what? Not really sure. Not really sure, and I'm noticing that the time is almost done here. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining. As you can see, this is actually what most of my coding journey has looked like. Hours and hours and hours of just code not working. But this is how we learn. And the reason why I'm doing these live streams, to share with you the reality of coding. And if you feel like this is for you, I do believe that it is one of the better investments that you could do if you have free time, a computer, internet, you're wondering what to do with your life. Just get into coding, show up, put in the work. I think it's not only good for you to learn something new, but it'll help your character as well. And so that's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you the next time.